And welcome back, everyone, to our second edition of the Sick Podcast, Rocket Report. And we're going to talk about game 2 of the series between the Laval Rocket and the Rochester Americans in the North Division Finals. A game that didn't go the Rockets' way this time around. They lose 5-3. We're going to dissect all of that, what went wrong, and the bright spots, because it wasn't all bad. And of course, we're going to talk about the news of the day. Laurent Dauphin, the number one center of the Laval Rocket, signs a 2-year extension with the team. We're going to talk about what this means for the team and how important he has been for the Rocket. And we're going to look ahead to tomorrow night's game, game 3 in Laval. We're going to do that and a whole lot more right here, right now.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rocket Report.
That's it!
The sickest Laval Rocket podcast. It's gonna be sick.
That's right. Producer Shane here, joined by my co-host and the voice of your Laval Rocket on BPM Sport, Anthony Marcotte. Anthony, how's it going today?
Showtime, Shane. Feeling really good. As you can see, I'm at Place Bell right now where the team held a press conference today. We could talk with a lot of players with Coach Pascal Vincent as we're getting ready for game number 3 tomorrow night.
Absolutely. And you also got a chance to talk to the man of the hour, the guy who just signed a 2-year contract extension. And I think we have to start with Laurent Dauphin. This big news coming today and important news for the team and the franchise. He's the number one center. He's been unreal this season, really had a great year. And in the playoffs, that just kept going. Scored again, a big goal. But tell me about, what this means, what kind of message this sends that a veteran like Laurent Dauphin would want to stay in Laval for 2 more years.
Well, I think in Laurent Dauphin's case, it's been consistency all year. He's been really, really good for that hockey team because he can bring you pretty much of everything. He has experience, 30 years of age, can play as a center, can play on the wing, can play on the PK, can play on the power play. And he needs a natural leader as well in that dressing room. So an excellent signature today for the Laval Rocket on an AHL only 2-year deal. That doesn't happen very much. You got to bring something special to a dressing room if you want to get a long-term contract for the AHL, because it's really the case when you sign a 2-year AHL deal, it's a pretty long contract, but I think he's well appreciated in that dressing room, and he deserves it. So an excellent signature for him. He's been good into the season. He's been very good in the playoffs as well. And he was just looking for stability for himself, for his family. For sure, he could have got a couple of offers on an NHL 2-way deal on July 1st, probably. But when you can get stability on a 2-year deal with a lot of money for the AHL, I think it's an excellent contract for Laurent Dauphin. We just don't know the terms of the deal money-wise, but you can tell that he's going to be probably into the well-paid athletes in the AHL on an AHL-only deal.
Yeah. I see this as a win-win for both parties, right? Laurent, he's expressed his desire to stay in Laval and really stay with his family and where he grew up. And I mean, for the team, he's been a critical part of the success they've had this year. And I think the message this sends as well is really important. The fact that a veteran who, like you said, could have maybe looked around the NHL and tried his shot again, decided to really stay here with this group because he knows that they're just starting off, right? This is a really great young group, and he wants to be a part of it. So I think that's a really important message as well, don't you think?
No, and you know how things work. When a guy signs a 2-way deal, he's the kind of guy that he's seen right from the get-go as a veteran for the AHL team. So
right,
doesn't matter where he signs, he's going to start the season in the AHL. A guy like him knows very well what's going to happen. But for Laval, even though we don't know the terms, I think he will approach $300,000 or $400,000 US without escrow to play in Laval. So that's good money, especially for a guy like himself that doesn't have to pay two places to live.
Right.
When you sign a contract, you need to find yourself a new home. You need to pay your home as well back home. So he stays where he fits. So that's another thing that you need to take care of. And I, I think Laurent, if he was maybe if he went, he was going to on July 1st, he would have got his offers, probably one or two-way deals. But sometimes it's not the ideal place to live. You take a look at the AHL, the farm team, you don't want to play there or so. So I think it's a right compromise for him. It's pretty much the same money on a two-way deal that he's going to make next year. For sure, doesn't have the perspective to play in the NHL. That's a fact.
Right.
But on the other side of things, the money is right, and he's comfortable where he is. So it takes humility to look at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, well, I am at the right place right now. 30 years of age, my perspective for the NHL are pretty average. So why not signing again in Laval in an environment that you know full well?
Absolutely. Well, it's great news for the Laval Rocket, and congratulations, of course, to Laurent Dauphin on the contract extension. Well deserved there. Anthony, before we get deep into the game two on Friday night, I want to tell everyone about our good friends and partners over at Betway, okay? Because you can go all the way with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. You can scan that QR code on the screen or click in the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 18 years or older. Please play responsibly. As I said, the Laval Rocket unfortunately lost game two 5-3 in Rochester. The series is now 1-1, but we'll kind of dive into what went wrong, right? I mean, game one, I thought you and I both thought the Laval Rocket really stepped up and deserved that win. And I think you and I can agree that they did not deserve to win game two. Anthony, can you tell me like one big difference that ultimately led to Laval winning game one and losing game two?
Well, I think the team was undisciplined, first of all, in game number two. A couple of bad penalties. They shot themselves in the foot for sure. Turnovers was a big issue as well. You can't give that amount of quality chances to a good team like the Amherst without paying the price. And I think it happened on Friday night. The team played good enough to win. I think Jacob Fowler played good enough to win as well. Yeah. Giving his team a chance at 3-3 at the start of the third period to get the chance to have that W, but I really don't think the Rocket deserved it. The right team won. Yeah. And if you look at the two games in Rochester, it's the right result to get that series 1-1 for game number 3 tomorrow night. So there's a few aspects of the play that I especially didn't like on Laval's case. And it's all year long, they were able to bounce back after subpar performances, and I think we're in the exact same spot right now. It's a good team on the other side that you got to respect, and I think a couple of they will bring a couple of new stuff tomorrow to just be better on the ice, being more disciplined, and starting the game on the right foot.
Exactly. What stood out to me when I watched the game is that the Laval Rocket looked like a young team, and they are a young team. But they were making a quote rookie mistakes, if you will, or they were nervous, not holding on to the puck, making turnovers, like you said, and the indiscipline. Right, that's really the main point here. Again, they gave 4 power plays to the Americans, and they capitalized on 2 of those. Ultimately, Laval lost the special teams battle. They went 0 for 4 on the power play and 2 for 4 on the PK. So not great there. But a player there that maybe gets a little bit of flack. And you know what? He's been in the penalty box his fair share this season, has been Florian Jacki, and he got ultimately the penalty that ended up costing the game to the team. He bumped Devin Levi there. But how can players like him, and himself included, teeter that line like we talked about last week of, okay, it's going to be a physical series and you have to ground and pound this team. You have to make them hurt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to stay disciplined and stay out of the box. How can they kind of balance that better? Because right now they haven't been doing that.
Yeah, I have a couple of nice stuff to bring to you about Florent Jacques. Because
Mm-hmm.
we talked to him earlier on today. We talked with the coach as well about these two penalties that pretty much look alike in
Yeah.
game number two, where he collided with goaltender Devin Levi twice. The first time it happened in the first period, you got to send a message, and I see that kind of penalty as a good penalty
Right.
because it sends a message to the opponent that we're going to be in your face all night long. So for me, it's a pretty good penalty if you can serve it well and bounce back right after it and getting the momentum back.
Mm-hmm.
But timing is everything and for those kind of penalties. And I didn't think that the second one was a good penalty, even though I think Levi sold it well, but it's part of the game. I mean, he was in the crease. There was a little bit of contact,
Yeah.
and he decided to make the fall. And but I don't blame the goaltender here. I think he
I don't
did
know.
the right thing. Was able to get that penalty, and Yuri Kulik was able to be the difference maker, scoring that big goal in the third. And Laval wasn't able to overcome it. So that thing being said, talking with Foran today, I think he's in the right frame of mind. He
Mm-hmm.
knows that there's some things that he can go through, and sometimes a guy like himself, with the name that he carries on the back of this jersey,
Yeah.
referees will take a close look to everything that he does. 175 penalty minutes. I don't think Florent is a undisciplined player. There were a lot of 10-minute misconducts in those
Right.
175 penalty minutes, but sometimes that kind of player will find himself into the penalty box. You got to live with those calls sometime, but
Mm-hmm.
when it happens in the playoffs and it costs you the game, well, the spotlight goes onto you. But I believe in Florian. I think he will bounce back
Mm-hmm.
well on Wednesday. And the interesting tidbit that he gave us today was when I asked him if uh, sometimes he have the feeling that he is a marked man out there,
Mm-hmm.
that the referee, because of his name, are taking a closer look at everything that he does on the ice. And his answer was pretty interesting. He said to me that, well, I know the name that I carry, but on the other side of things, I want to build a relationship with the referees. I want to understand which line I can cross. I want to be a respected kind of hockey player. So I thought that it was a well thought answer.
Yeah.
And Pascal knew about it. And when he answered back on his side, he told us, well, I've been preaching to him everything that Adam Laurie has been doing all his years in Winnipeg. He's a well-respected centerman, physical, plays the game the right way, and those kind of players always has the respect of the referees. So if
Yeah.
he can shadow just a little bit what Adam Laurie does in Winnipeg, he's going to be a respected hockey player for sure. He's going to get his fair share of penalty minutes, no doubt. But sometimes those players get the benefit of the doubt more often.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that answer a lot. And you know, I like you said, I understand the thought process of wanting to be in Devin Levi's face because ultimately he is a big factor for that Americans team. He's been unbelievable this season and in the playoffs as well. But you know, only 19 shots, right? That's another downfall in game two. Only 19 shots, didn't really generate a ton of offense, didn't generate a ton of shots on goal, and not a ton of traffic in front of the goal as well, right? Florian tried to do that and ultimately got penalized for it. It went a little too hard, but how do you think they can kind of penetrate the defense a little more? I mean, the Americans have a good defense, but it's not, you know, en bon français, c'est pas étanche, là, right? You can still get through it. So what do you think the Rocket need to do in game three to kind of create more offense and get in front of Levi and really get in his head?
Well, I didn't think that the forecheck was as steady as we've seen in
Mm-hmm.
game number one. Maybe that the Amherst did a few corrections defensively, the way that they handled the puck. they were moving the puck more quickly for sure.
Yeah.
And you got to be aware because when they break out, they're a dangerous hockey team because they exploit their speed. And if you're not ready for it, it can become a good scoring chance on their side. And I thought that the Rocket, when the Hammers took their momentum, they were tough to shut down. I think the Rocket, if they want to win that short series now that will be played in Laval, they need to slow things down a little bit because if the Hammers are able to surf on their momentum and they will build speed and they will force you to play on your heels just a little bit. They can be a much more dangerous hockey team. So that I think the forecheck wasn't on par of what we seen at the beginning of the series and even what we saw mostly in that Cleveland series. But I didn't get the feeling that Pascal Vincent was panicking with the situation because his team was able to bounce back each and every time the season gave itself a challenges. So they were able to overcome it.
Exactly. Now, this team is very flexible. They're bendy, right? They bend, but they don't break, and
that's
they're
right.
able to rebound. That's a great point by you there. So, expecting a big game tomorrow night, but we're not there just yet. Still a few more points to talk about in game 2 to really be able to predict what's going to happen in game 3. One thing that really stood out to me is how the Americans generate offense from the blue line, right? They have offensively minded defensemen. Obviously, Kale Clay comes to mind first. He's been having a crazy series. I think 4 points in 2 games now, and 2 goals, actually. This pretty much very similar, but they create a lot from the blue line. And I think Laval has been allowing them to create too much from the blue line. Do you think the forwards need to be a little more aggressive on their defensemen there to kind of stump that from the get-go?
No, I think so. The Clay's goal, I thought that they gave him basically the shot. So you need to be more proactive on it. Bring more physicality. Don't give them the chance to shoot the puck. It's going to bite you. They've been sitting Eric Brandstrom all series, so he's a guy that could jump in and be another guy that would bring offense to that team. So it's clearly one of their assets. They have a few players that can play the offensive kind of hockey game. Clay is one of them. I think Zach Metsa is an excellent offensive-minded defenseman as well. So they have a few guys. Jack Rathbone is another one that can shoot the puck. So you got to be aware at all times from these guys on the point because they can shoot the puck and they can move it well on the offense side. So, but like I said, if you put more pressure, I think they were playing just a little bit too down low. If they can put more pressure on the blue line, it should work well.
Exactly. So it's little adjustments here and there, but ultimately the Rocket didn't have a terrible game all in all, right? Only 19 shots. If you're only looking at that, you might say, they didn't really have a great game. But hey, let's talk a bit about some of the positives from game 2. And the first one I want to bring up is a guy that we featured a bunch in last week's show, and a lot of Habs fans are excited about him. Logan Mayu. He's really stepped up his game in the playoffs. It's significantly better. And what's standing out to me is his confidence level, right? He trusts himself to generate and create things, hold on to the puck, but also his mobility. For a 6'4", 6'3" guy, he moves incredibly well. Talk to me a little bit about Mayu and maybe what's made him kind of raise his level a bit in the playoffs so far.
Well, I think you were able to identify exactly what's been the difference for him is that he moves well. And he doesn't mind to insert himself in the offense. I think he will always be that kind of offensive-minded defenseman. But I got the sense that Montreal really wanted to make himself a more complete kind of defenseman and use the AHL to improve himself in those areas. And that's why this year, a couple of times, they decide to pretty much get rid of him on the power play just so he can concentrate on the defensive side. They played him more on the PK. I don't think we're going to see Mayu really often in the NHL playing on the PK, but he did it this year, and I think he's getting better at it because of it. So that's a good thing for Logan. But not only his defensive play, but I think his puck management sometimes. It's a head scratcher, and he knows it. He needs to make better decisions with the puck. Personally, at the end of game number 2, I didn't like his play at center ice. It's we have almost 3 minutes left to play. He has only one option: is to cross the red line and dump the puck, or try to place the puck behind their defenseman. So a few of his forwards can help himself to join the attack, but he missed it. It became icing. The action was taken back to the defensive zone, and he took a penalty. So Logan and the team shot himself in the foot, and they missed time to come back in the hockey game and get the equalizer. So this is just those plays are getting more important in Montreal, because there's a lot of follow through on every plays. When it happens in Laval, nobody will talk about it, or just a little bit the next morning, and then there's another game, and nobody will remember it. But in Montreal, it's different. So those plays will happen in the NHL in this case. But if he can just be better in some certain areas of his play, going to be make himself a really good NHLer.
And I like the fact that you mentioned that he's going to be an NHLer, because those, aside from these little tweaks that he does need to make to his game, I think he could, he might be playing his last few games with the Rocket in these playoffs right now. He could win a spot with the Habs as soon as next season. Anthony, another point that I think maybe a little overlooked is, sure, the Rocket only got 19 shots on goal, but they still managed to score 3 goals on a goalie that's been almost unbeatable in the playoffs prior to that. Overall, 8 goals in 2 games against Devin Levi is a massive, massive plus and a really big positive. Do you think they've kind of figured out his weaknesses, and what do you think they should exploit a little bit more about Devin Levi in the coming games?
Well, Levi hasn't been great, but I don't think he's been a weakness as well. I think the shot that beat him were pretty good. Almost all grade A chances. So sometimes when you bring volume and you have a lot of grade A chances, well, I mean, he's not superhuman. So you're going to score goals for sure. And I think it's been that kind of series for Devin Levi. Can he be better? Probably. Can he steal a game? Yes, he can steal a game. And that's it, and that's always dangerous when you have now a 2 out of 3 game series this week in Laval. I think he can be that kind of difference maker for the Americans. But if Laval comes back to what we've seen all year, bring a lot of volume, and the shots that he won't see will probably go in, because he's not a really tall goaltender. He got beat on Laurent Dauphin's goal on Friday. I mean, a good sized goalie will probably come up with the save at that time. So he's a smallish goaltender, and when you have your looks at the top of the net, you will have your chances to score.
Absolutely. And you know what? Talking about offense for the Rocket, something else that stood out to me is that 8 different players got a point in game number 2. Right? Not one player got, more than 1 point, but I like the fact that it's diversified. The offense for the Rocket is very diversified. All 4 lines can generate offense. All 3 defensive pairings can generate offense. So that gives them a lot of possibilities to maneuver around. Both power plays can kill you. However, is there any player in particular that you're hoping to see a little bit more of, that offensively maybe hasn't lived up to your expectations so far?
Well, when you take a look at all the lines on Friday night, I saw a few players in all the lines that had a subpar hockey game. So that didn't help the situation. It seemed that no line was really clicking on Friday on a regular basis, where sometimes you have the reflection, oh, that line has been really good tonight, where I didn't have that feeling on Friday. Because a few players had difficult kind of hockey games. I think Owen Beck played a difficult game on Friday. He started on a 3rd line. It took 1 period, and Luke Tuck was the guy that got promoted on the third line.
Right.
Tuck was pretty good with that said on Friday, and I don't think he's the guy that you will get that will get scratched tomorrow if Xavier Simoneau comes back. Do you really want to scratch Luke Tuck? I don't think so. Well, it wouldn't be deserved for sure if you scratch Luke Tuck. Kapanen, Gignac, and Roy, it was a complicated game for them.
Yeah.
They didn't create a lot of offense, and even with the empty net goal, globally, they ended the game at -8, the three of them. So they were on the ice for most of the Americans' goals on Friday. So these three needs to step it up a notch. And I think Joshua Roy, with no goals in 6 games since the beginning of the playoffs, can he be better? Oh, absolutely. And I think he knows it. He needs to step his game just a little bit, especially on the power play. Needs to get his touches, shoot the puck more. If he has the opportunity, you got to see that release of a shot that he has. And I think a goal will help alleviate the pressure on himself.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point there. I've noticed, Josh. I mean, we talked about him a bit last week about how he's trying to get a little bit more physically involved, but he also has to remember his roots and remember what has made him such a good hockey player, and that's his offense. I mean, he can generate offense, he can score goals, and hopefully he can start doing that tomorrow night in Game 3. Anthony, I think we have to talk about the goalies, right? They're going to be a topic about every show, but Jacob Fowler, again, on the surface, you see he let in 4 goals, but not to blame for the loss whatsoever. He stopped, I think, 2 or 3 breakaways, stopped really big shots, made huge saves. Now we're back to the same discussion. Who gets Game 3, right? Primeau is 1-1. He's got an .865 save percentage, and in Game 1 he was 23 for 27, and then Fowler is 3-1 with a .929 save percentage, and he was 31 for 35 in Game 2. Where do we go from here? Let us have it.
Well, they talked about a rotation, and I see the rotation continuing tomorrow. And I think it's Primeau's turn. I was right on each and every time we had a legit question about the goaltending, and I think Primeau will get the start tomorrow. But don't ask Pascal Vincent who's the starter tomorrow. He will tell you, well, it's a goalie that will play.
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I think Laval has a good option in net. I know some people would like to see the team running the ball with Fowler, and it's understandable. But on the other side, I think Cayden Primeau could be the kind of goalie to bring the Calder Cup in Laval. He's been on the run in 2022. Without him, no chance that the Rocket would have made that kind of a push during the playoffs. So we'll see tomorrow. If you win the game, could we see Vincent coming back with the same goalie and try to clinch when you have the chance to do it? You don't want to waste any kind of opportunity against a tough team like the Americans, because I respect them a lot. They have a lot of good offensive-minded players. They can bite you if you give them a single chance to do it. And I'm not a firm believer in the rotation. I think we talked about it last Thursday. I understand why they're doing it right now, but don't expect to see the rotation until the end. I would be really surprised if they keep on going with that kind of rotation. They will need to make their choice somewhere down the road.
Exactly. No, it's unusual, right, to see a rotation in the playoffs of all things. I mean, usually a team, identifies their number one and rolls with that number one. But now they have a genuine question. I mean, both goalies have been really, really good. So, and in a way, I mean, it's a positive, whichever way you look at it. Okay, we have a good goalie in net no matter what. But I think it is important to get a little bit of consistency in the net and get a goalie to get some rhythm as well. I think that's important as well for goalies. I wasn't a goalie myself, but I've heard goalies say that it's important to get some rhythm, get those touches as well. So, hey, I'm all for Primeau, but I'm all for Fowler, whichever one it is. I trust Pascal Vincent. He has yet to make me doubt him so far this season.
The thing is with the series that it goes longer with a game on Friday and the next game on Wednesday. It's tough for a goaltender to get his rhythm. And
That's
that's
it.
where we are right now with Fowler and Primeau.
Exactly. No, that's a great point. The schedule is it's a bit wonky, but that's the AHL for you. Now, looking ahead at gate number 3 tomorrow night in Laval, do you foresee any lineup changes at all? Any line combinations switching up, or are we going with the same personnel for tomorrow?
Now, the question mark is about Xavier Simoneau. He's
Mm-hmm.
day to day right now for an injury. We don't know if it's a upper or lower body, but I thought that he missed. He was missed on the ice on Friday night. He's the kind of shit disturber out there that
Exactly.
plays into the heads of his opponents.
Yeah.
And if he's disciplined, he's so useful for the team. And the, there was some chemistry with Kundada and Ave Pinard. The three of them were playing
Mm-hmm.
excellent until he was injured, but it doesn't appear to be a major injury. I expect Pascal Vincent to bring Simoneau back in the lineup as soon as he can get him. But like I said earlier on, I don't think Luke Tuck deservedly would go out of the lineup. So what are you going to do? Do you scratch Brandon Gignac of the lineup? They did it early on in the Cleveland series. Didn't play one game. They bring him back and they won the series with Gignac in the lineup. I didn't think that the second line played really good, but I thought there was improvement in game number 1. So you got to think about it when you decide to tinker with your lineup. And if you want to keep Luke Tuck in the lineup, I think he should play on the 4th line. You don't want to play him on an offensive kind of line. So I really don't know. It will really depend on Simoneau's situation. If he's able to play, that will get it interesting. But if he's not, I think Tuck stays in the lineup, and we're going to see pretty much the same lineup as we saw on Friday.
Yeah, the honey badger. I like the way you describe him. I mean, his game is built for the playoffs, right? He's in your face, he's in your head, and he's got a great skill as well. I think that's something that's overlooked about Xavier Simoneau.
And he brings everyone into the fight with him.
Exactly, and he likes to start some fights. So
for sure.
I love his style, and you know what? That's something that the Rocket have diversity in, right? Like you have these guys who are able to play playoff style hockey, right? Like Simoneau, Tuck, Kandara, right? Jacky, Davidson. Then the list goes on, right? These guys are able to get physical. They're able to get in your face. I think that's a really important element. So if Simoneau is good to go, I think he kind of has to be reinstated in the lineup. This guy's a proven winner, so I'm all for that. I love it. Now looking at the Americans, I think the big 3 that have been hurting the Rocket the most. I mean, Cale Clegg, right? Isaac Rosen and Yuri Kulich, who shouldn't even be in the AHL. Let's be honest. This guy's an NHL player all day. But what should be the game plan for those big guns? How do you prevent them from killing the Rocket like they have so far?
Well, you hit them whenever you have the chance to do it. I think you take the breath out of them as soon as you can get. Don't give them a lot of space. I think Clegg doesn't like to get hit. Nobody likes to get hit. It's not Clegg more than other players, but if he's the target of the forecheck each and every time he has the puck, it's going to get complicated for Clegg. On the other side, Kulich was the difference maker in game number 2, but I don't think he's been outstanding in that series because he doesn't have a lot of space. Rosayan has been better than him personally. The 18 has been better than Kulich. So it's always the same thing. When you apply pressure, these guys will panic with the puck, and it could be turnover machine. So I think if you come back to the way that you had success all year, everything will go fine with Laval. But use that loss as a I don't know, use it to your advantage and see it as an advertisement that this team is not a team that you can play with.
No,
they will bite you if you give them a little breather, or if you gave them room. They will bite you for sure. It's an excellent team, and I think they've been top 5 in the AHL all year. It's a legit opponent, much better than Cleveland in my book. So you need to respect it a lot. And the format of the series, it's you're vulnerable to an upset. So you better be ready to whatever they bring.
Exactly. No, this game 2 was a great learning lesson. Kind of maybe a little bit of a wake up call for the Rocket to say, okay, like this, you're playing against a real team now, and yeah, you better put your big boy pants on and get ready. So game 3 is shaping up to be a heck of a hockey game. Get your tickets, folks, and if maybe you didn't, and hopefully you participated in our giveaway, because we were giving out tickets for game 3 in Laval, and we'll be announcing the winner today on our Twitter account. So make sure you're following us, SickPod Rocket. Follow the YouTube channel as well. We're going to be posting, we're hoping, twice a week. We'll be back on Thursday to talk about game number 3, and we'll keep doing that until the playoffs are over, because we want the Rocket to get all the way to the end. And when the summer comes, we'll figure it out then. But until then, Anthony, anything else to add before we get out of here?
Well, I've been impressed with our numbers for our first podcast, only on YouTube. I mean, I saw the numbers on YouTube, and it's really impressive. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. I'm not used to do stuff in English, but I'll work around the edges about it. So it's a fun thing to do. So thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll keep up improving it and bring a few surprises along the way as well. Mm-hmm. So, we'll talk about game number 3 on Thursday for sure.
Excellent. Well, for Anthony Marcotte, who you can listen to on BPM Sport at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, I'm producer Shane. Thank you to Sammy, Juliana, and Agnello back at Master Control. This has been another edition of the Sick Podcast, Rocket Report. Let's go Rocket.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rocket Report on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.